Hi everyone, my name is Stephen Simon and welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you are someone who wants to learn about data science, programming and computer science engineering, then this channel is for you and please consider subscribing. This video is one of the videos in the series Python only for data science where we are learning Python that is only required for data science. And in this particular video, we're going to talk about Boolean values, comparison operators and how you can actually use them, which is actually going to help you later on in working with the conditional states in Python programming. So it's going to be a little interesting video. I hope you like it. And coming up. Alright, so let's get started and move to the very first topic of this episode, that is the Boolean values. Now, we did study about the different data types that we have. We talked about integer, floating, and the strings. In this video, we're going to focus very briefly on Boolean values, and then we are going to look at some different type of more operators. Remember, these Boolean values are very similar to the one that we had in our physics and in our computer science also, right? You're going to study Boolean values in your computer science, that is zeros and one. So you basically represent 0 by false and 1 by true. Very basics. Remember the logic gates? Now in Python, this is also supported, and the way we write is not by 0 or 1 but by true and false. And when you give a variable a value of true or false, remember you're not supposed to put it inside a quotes. Now if you put it inside a quotes, the variable will store a string value. It is not going to store a Boolean value. That is the first thing to note. And second, whenever you do that, make sure whenever you are making a variable a Boolean value, the true and false starts with a capital T or a capital F. Let's go to our IDLE I have with me, and let's go ahead and give it a try. Let's say I declare a variable that is unleash and give it a value as true. Now you see, the moment I write true with capital T, the color changes. So it means I'm using a Boolean value. Now the value is stored, and if I just go ahead and check the value, it says true. In the same way, I can declare a variable that is data and give it a value as false. And if I then check it, I get the output as false. Now, taking the notes from the presentation, it said that we are always supposed to start the true or false with a capital T or capital F. Let's see what happens when we give a not capital T, right? So I'm going to write unleash is equal to true, but this time I'm using T with the small letter. I press enter and it says it's an error, and the name true is not defined, right? So that's an error. In the same way, it's with a false. Now if I go ahead and write data is equal to false, now this time I've added false inside a quotation. Now it is going to store the value as a string and not as a Boolean value. You must always remember that whenever you want to go ahead and work with the Boolean values, the three things that we learn, that it always starts with capital T or capital F and no quotes are to be added, right? So this is a thing that you guys should always remember. All right, so that brings us to the next section, and that is working with the comparison operators. Now, what are comparison operators? These are the operators which are also called relational operators, and they are actually used to compare two values or evaluate down to single values. Very simple. If you take the example that the below that we have is the first one, that is equals to operator. Now you see, if you do a single equal to operator, it is going to assign a value to a variable, whereas if you use a double equals to operator, it is going to check if the value is true or false. And the reason why we did the Boolean values just before, because the comparison operator always evaluates to true or false depending upon the values that you give them. I mean, if you use this double equals to operator, right, the value that you're going to get will be either true or false. The second one that we have is the not equal. So if you place exclamation mark before the first is equal to, it is going to check if it is not equal to. Let us go back to our IDLE and try to do couple of examples. Now suppose I take 42 double equals to 42. Now I'm not assigning a value, but I'm actually going to check if 42 is equal to 42 or not. I press enter, I get the value output as true, which is of course true. Now if I go ahead and say 42 is equal to 99, what should be the output? The output should be false because it's not true. In the same way, if you go ahead and type 2 is not equal to 3, what do you think the output should be? Is 2 equal to 3? No, right? So that is what we have written here. Is 2 not equal to 3, which is exactly true. 2 is can never be equal to 3. So we go ahead and check it, we get the output as true. Whereas if we go ahead and check if 2 is not equal to 2, that's odd, right? That's a little odd. Is 2 not equal to 2? No, 2 is equal to 2. So what we are going to get the output? It is false. In the same way, we can also do with many more, not just with the numerical values, we can also do it with the uh, string values. We can do hello. So is hello is equal to hello? Definitely yes. But let's go ahead and check if hello is equal to hello with H capital. Ooh, let me go ahead and change it. Perfect. What do you think? What should be output? The output will be false, right? Because it is case sensitive, right? The hello with this small h is not equal to hello with the capital H. In the same way, you can also do with the float values. Now let us go back and try to understand different other operators. Just the way we did equal to and not equal to, you can also go ahead and practice with less than, greater than, less than equal to, or greater than equal to. Remember these operators, whenever you go ahead and give them a condition, they will always evaluate to either true or false. So we did with equal to, not equal to, and I'm going to leave these four as your homework so that you can go ahead and practice this. Very simple. If you have any query, you can drop in the comment section below. Now let's move to the next topic that we have, and that is, what is that? Okay, let me open Boolean operators. Now, do you remember the logic gates from our +1 and +2, or even from high school? We had and, or, a not. Very similarly, even Python programming language supports these three different Boolean operators. The first one is and, or, and not, and they're once again used to compare the Boolean values. Just like comparison operators, they also evaluate down to either true or false. Let us go ahead and try it once. But before we do that, let's actually go ahead and look at the different type of operators, right? First, we will look at and or, and then we will look at the not one. So we actually divide our Boolean operators into either binary operators, right? Or maybe non-binary. Okay. So in the binary operator, we have and or or operator, right? So and or operator always take two Boolean values or expressions, so they are considered a binary operators. The reason we call it the binary Boolean operators because and or operators, they always take two values, and the operator always evaluates to either evaluates to true if both the values are true, otherwise it evaluates to false. It's pretty simple, the one that you had in your +1 and +2 and also in your engineering. So if the expression is true and true, it is going to give the value as true, whereas in any case if there's a false, it is going to give you output as false. Let us quickly go ahead in the IDLE and just try to do it. True and true, the output should be true. Whereas if in the and operator, if there's any time there is a false, it is always going to give you the output as false. In the same way, we also have the or operator, whereas with the or operator, uh, it will always evaluate to true if either of the two Boolean values is true. If both are false, it will evaluate to false. Very simple. Let's again just need to look at the table. True and true, it is give you true, true and false, true, false and true, true, and if there's false and false, it is going to give you false. Let's just go ahead and practice. These are very simple and basic concepts. Let's go ahead and write true. Okay, I think I should have done it all right. So okay, there's a quick mistake. Make sure you add or over here, right? That's the mistake I've done. It should be or. uh, Mistake. Okay, so true or true, it is going to give me or it's true. If I just write false or false, it is going to give me false. Whereas if I just give it any two values, true or false, it is going to give me true. Well, I believe false and false has given me false. Perfect. So if there's two false values, it is going to give me false. Rest in or other cases, it is going to give me the true value. All right. So the next one that we have, you can definitely go ahead and try with the not one, right? Just the way we did with the and or operator. I would leave it up to you to go ahead and try with the and or not operator. Okay, so that's something I'll leave up to you, so that I can just wrap this video little soon. The next one that we have here is now mixing the boolean and comparison operators. We did see how to work with true and false. We also did see how you can work with equal to, less than, greater than, and those operators. Now what we can actually do is we can actually go ahead and try to mix these operators, right? And let me go ahead, before I explain the example, let me go ahead and put it on the screen, and I just paste it. So what we have here is inside the parentheses, we have the input as 4 is less than 5 and 5 is less than 6. So let us go ahead and run it and check the output. You see, now since we have used the AND operator, we have also used the comparison operators. It is always going to give us the Boolean value that is true. Now, how did it actually calculate it? Let us go back to the presentation and actually see. Now, if you can see, the very first step that we have is in this expression, we evaluate first on the parentheses starting from left to right, right? So is 4 less than 5? That is exactly true. So we evaluate it to true, and we bring the rest of expression in the same way. Now we again look for the another parenthesis, that is 5 is less than 6, which is again true. So we evaluate that value. Now we have true and true. Now we will again evaluate these true, that is the AND operator. So we'll do true, and that should give us an output as true. That actually we got it in the screen, that is here, it is true. That's it in the comparison and Boolean operators, and in this video. Pretty simple, very basics. This is something that you have done in your high school, and probably you can revise it in your college itself. So this may be very handy working with your data sets and to check the operators. And that's it in this screencast. Alright, so that was all in this video. In the next video, we're going to talk about the control flow statement, that is if, while, do while, and couple of more, which is something that is very fundamental to any of the programming language. And if you have not subscribed my channel till now, consider subscribing, as we talk about data science, engineering, and computer science. And I'll catch you in the next video.